Dub Nation. After the final buzzer. This is where you come for instant post-game reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is Dub's OT.
Can't wait.
With John Dickinson.
Hey, JD, what you up to, sugar? Long time no talk to.
On KNBR 104.5 and 6.8. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
Beal, timer at 1. Durant lets it fly. It's good. Durant's hit 2 threes in a row. And there he is again. KD has hit 3 in a row, heating up at the end of the third.
Doesn't take long. These guys like Durant and Curry, they can do it in spurts all of a sudden. 9 quick points for him.
Yeah, vintage Kevin Durant there to close the third quarter. Was sitting on 10 points, ends up going 3-3-3 to finish the quarter with 19, mixing it up with Gary Payton Sr. throughout that stretch of play there where everything was kind of hanging in the balance, and the Suns pull away in the third quarter tonight, 36-28 third, up 19 on the Kevin Durant little mini run there at the end of the quarter, and then the Suns put the Warriors away in the fourth quarter, blow them out 130-105 is the final as we welcome you in here on this Friday night, rainy, dreary kind of Friday night here from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. It is John Dickinson with you here with Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader. So 808 KNBR, the number 415-808-5627. And what more really could you have expected from this team? And I was thinking about it as the game was winding down and the Warriors were going to lose this game. You get the 12-3 start, then the 3-12 stretch to end up 15-15. And since the Warriors were 15-15, they've also been 16-16, 18-18, 19-19, 20-20, 21-21, 22-22, 23-23, and now tonight with this loss to the Phoenix Suns, 24-24. So what is the definition of mid? Well, it's been exactly what the Warriors have been here for the last month plus after the hot start and then the immediate subsequent cold stretch. And tonight was one of those nights where, I mean, the Warriors, as far as some thoughts on this game, they got annihilated in the paint in this game. Ended up 56-36 in the paint. The Warriors, one of those nights where when they don't play well, they are constantly missing layups, and that was a huge issue for them tonight. Quentin Post, first time we've seen him get exposed a little bit. The bigs for Phoenix, Nick Richards, who they just picked up from Charlotte, 14 and 16. And Mason Plumlee goes for 10 and 6 himself. So you add the two together, the Suns tonight from their two centers ended up with, what would that be? 24 and 22. 24 and 22 from their centers. And, Quentin Post really struggled on the interior tonight, got his shot blocked a couple of different times. Plumlee got Curry a couple of times. Plumlee ended up with 4 blocks in this game. And so the Suns were controlling the paint. The Warriors were unable to score in the paint. And the Suns just really able to get out and get a lot of really open, comfortable looks in this game throughout. One of those nights where you look up 30 for the Suns in the first quarter, 32 in the second, 36 in the third to help extend and expand the lead, and then it ends up being 32 in the fourth quarter. So 30-plus in every quarter for the Suns. And tonight was a night where the Warriors just, the Suns have been mid and a little bit of a better record than the Warriors to this point, a game and a half as they're improved to 25 and 22. But the Suns still have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal plays exceptionally well against the Warriors more often than not, even back during his time with the Wizards. And tonight's one of those nights where you look up, and despite the fact that Warriors had a thrilling, improbable, but exceptional win on Wednesday night against Oklahoma City, the inability to really chase it or follow it up game to game winds up being disappointing for Golden State on this night. And they just looked overmatched to me tonight. It felt, and the other time I felt that way watching this Warriors team in January was the game against the Kings. Tonight kind of reminded me a little bit of the game against the Kings at Chase Center that ended up being a 30-point victory for Sacramento, where you look up and the teams, each team has their own flaws between the Suns and the Kings and the Warriors, all very similar records. The Suns a couple of games better than the other two. The Warriors back to 500 again here at 24-24. But you look at just the talent on the court, scoring talent on the court. And I remember watching that game against Sacramento, and you're like, damn, I mean, they've got Monk, and Fox didn't play that night, but they got Fox and Monk, and Keegan Murray's making shots, and Sabonis is doing his thing. And I'm thinking the Warriors basically have Steph, and they're hoping Wiggins has a big game, and maybe Buddy Hield will make some threes. And tonight, I mean, the Suns take it to another level because they've got future Hall of Fame players. They've got Olympians. They've got multi-time All-Stars in the group offensively. And so, Booker, I thought, really just controlled the game. And again, the Suns able to get whatever they wanted relatively easily in this one. Grayson Allen, 3 of 5 on a night where the Suns end up hitting 19 of 39 overall from three-point range. Durant kind of coasting, but then GP Senior, the OG, starts mixing it up with KD, and KD goes three ball in the third quarter. And I thought that was the key stretch of the game that actually put it out of reach with the Warriors trailing by 19 going to the fourth quarter. And then Phoenix kind of piling on in the fourth quarter to win it 130-105. So 808 KNBR is the number if you want to jump in and join the conversation. 415-808-5627. The Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line is open as well. Same number if you want to jump in there, 415-808-5627. And that's where Alex in Sonoma gets us started tonight on the Sports Leader. What's going on, Alex?
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for letting me come on.
Sure.
I was just thinking, in our glory days, when our team was loaded and, we had Clay and we were winning our championships. You turn around now and then every other team in the West is loaded. And, all of a sudden we're hanging in there. And, to compete anymore, we're not even competing against, for instance, a game like tonight. And I just wish the drop-off wouldn't be so. What my point is, even though that we don't have, all the superstars we used to have, to not fall off so deeply, we should always have a team that's competing and, never fall this far back and behind because it's painful. And you could see Steph, he looked a little bit, I guess you could call it disappointed, because
frustrated.
Frustrated. We used to have Kevin Durant on our team. And I mean, just think had he never left and, we could dream a little bit. Had he stayed with us, my goodness, I think we would have a couple more championships in our back pocket. But my point is, it's just amazing how the rest of the league really fortified all their teams. And
I mean, age is undefeated, and you look around and look, Klay Thompson declined. They did lose Durant going back to 2019. I mean, that was, 5.5 years ago, and they haven't been able to, really in the last 3 years, because they did win a championship with Klay coming back and Wiggins playing at an extremely high level and Jordan Poole being a young player that was on the come, but he declined after the punch with Draymond. Wiggins, I think that 1 year when they won the championship in 2022 was kind of the outlier year or the career year for him. He's been a serviceable to really good player since then, but he hasn't been the player consistently that he was during that particular run. Klay Thompson declined, didn't want to be here anymore, so he's in Dallas. He wouldn't be playing at a level that would be of a Booker Durant level at this point anyway. And, yeah, I mean, this team won 4 championships, this franchise. And now you look around, and I think that's kind of the big takeaway on a night like tonight is a lot of these teams have at least 2 guys that are star players. The Warriors do not. And I think, and on a lot of nights, that's enough. On a lot of nights, Alex, that's enough to be the determining factor between a win and a loss. And tonight, I think it was as simple as that.
Yeah, losing Poole didn't help either.
No, losing Poole didn't help. Well, losing Poole didn't help, although, again, the punch led to a significant decline in his play, and it's taken him 2 years to get back to even respectability as he has been this year in his second year with Washington. So it's not like you got that. It's not like the Warriors were getting the Jordan Poole that they got in the championship year, the year after, and he wasn't really even close to that kind of a player last year. So a lot of different little things that have led them to this point, Alex. But no matter how you slice it, none of it's good. And I think it really shows that this team definitely needs to look to make some moves at the trade deadline. That was the big debate the other night. And thank you for the call, Alex. I'll let you listen further on the airwaves here. But Alex's line open at 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. So much for the debate as we bring in our buddy Kyle Haar in our San Francisco studios. So much for the debate about one game either way being the determining factor. As we discussed on Wednesday, great win over the Thunder. Does it mean you're more reluctant to trade guys? The answer on that night, for me at least, going back to Wednesday was, well, not really. I think tonight it's especially a not really, as this team, again, continues in these little 2-game stretches, Kyle, to win one, lose one, win one, lose one. It's basically what they've been here for the last month and a half.
Yeah, this game felt like that Laker game where the Lakers bottled up Steph like the Suns did. And at the end of the game, it was like, okay, KD has Booker, LeBron has AD.
Yeah.
Who does Steph Curry have? And if you combine Steph Curry and whoever else was the top scorer, it doesn't come close to the point total of those other 2 superstar combinations.
Lakers are another example. We mentioned the Kings, who have a bunch of guys, Fox and Sabonis. We'll see if they have Fox and Sabonis come the trade deadline, but Monk and Murray and a bunch of guys that can score the basketball. DeRozan now. The Lakers have AD to go with LeBron. It's Luka and Kyrie. All of these teams, it's Murray with Jokic as the headliner and Jokic in Denver. You look at Tatum and Jaylen Brown with a whole heck of a lot of other players. The Warriors don't have that second one. And again, on a lot of nights, and I think you said it perfectly, again, teams look to take away Steph, or if Steph is just a little bit off, and others then really have to step up to make it somewhat respectable. Most nights the Warriors just don't have that second player in the tank, especially against a good team, and other teams at least have 2. So if one guy's off, the other guy might be on that night. If both guys are on, then it's going to be trouble. And so it just, again, it exudes the Warriors and exemplifies the Warriors' biggest problem, which they knew about coming into this season. And we'll see, because the Jimmy Butler rumors and reports have really heated up. The Zach LaVine rumors and reports have really heated up here over the course of the last couple of days. What ultimately do the Warriors do? Do they look to ultimately include Wiggins in a deal as well? It all remains to be seen. But again, tonight, just one of those nights where Suns take Steph away. Steph doesn't really have it. Ends up, you look at his line for tonight, 14 points, 5 of 14 shooting, 1 of 6 from three-point range. And, Wiggins, 17 tonight, but 6 for 20. And the Warriors really, Moses Moody, I thought, played well off the bench. I thought Pajemski scored tonight, this was one of Pajemski's worst games, I thought, overall. 3 turnovers. He was a -6. Looked a little bit more tentative, I thought, tonight. Although he did end up 4 of 7 from 3-point range. I don't think this was one of Pajemski's better games, although he ended up one of the higher point total marks on the night for the Warriors. It ended up being Wiggins and Moody with 17, Steph and Pajemski with 14. Buddy Hield 13 in this one, and then that was basically it. So the Warriors not getting the primary scoring in this one, not getting the secondary scoring in this one, and it all adds up. Even the bench, which on a lot of nights will be an advantage for the Warriors, was not an advantage. And some of the guys who have played well of late, Quentin Post, really I thought got exposed tonight. Guy Santos less effective tonight. Dennis Schroeder was not good tonight. GP2, 1 of 6. And just couldn't finish. He was finishing the other night. He couldn't finish tonight. And as far as those asking in the YouTube chat, we appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch as well here on Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader. I did want to bring up the shooting chart tonight for the Warriors and look at in the paint. In the paint tonight for the Warriors, absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. 18 of 47. 18 of 47 for the Warriors in the paint. That is 38.3%. 38% in the paint, basically at the rim. The Suns tonight hit 10 more buckets for 20 more points in the paint, and they did it 68%. So the Warriors could not defend in the paint, 68%, and the Warriors could not hit for anything in the paint, 38%. That's the story of the game, in addition to Booker and KD doing their thing in this one. So Warriors lose 130-105. The final here at Chase Center behind me. Again, we come to you from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. No fourth quarter comeback for the Dubs tonight, as they did have the one comeback earlier in the year against the Suns, but not tonight. Let's couple quick chats here before we take our first time out. We'll get to the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line as well between now and the end of the program, as the Warriors lose this one by 25. Digum 117, Jekyll and Hyde team. You never know what you're going to get. I kind of felt tonight was going to be tough sledding. I really did. Suns have been playing better of late. Disappointing overall, and at times they've dealt with some injuries. But I don't know. I thought tonight, given the back and forth, win, lose, lose, win nature of where the Warriors have been, and the fact that they just came up with a quality win against Oklahoma City. They come up with a quality win against Oklahoma City. You felt like they were almost in some ways maybe due to have a little bit of a dud tonight. The Suns had their star players going for them and had been playing a little bit better. And couple that with the fact that the Warriors had beaten the Suns the last time at Chase. And I just thought, this is kind of maybe going to be the Suns' night. And it turned out to be the case in this one. Rebel to Sounds, hopefully the front office can get this trade done and over with. Yeah, we'll see. I think they got to make some moves. I do think they're going to make a move. I don't necessarily know that they're a move away. They're certainly not a move away from being a title contender. I mean, we've been talking about that for the last month. But they still are very much still in the race here to try to get to the top 6 in the Western Conference, even sitting at 24-24. Joe H. had the question in the YouTube chat, how many layups and point-blank shots did they miss? Yeah, a ton tonight. And when you look at the shot chart, there's so many little circles, empty circles in and around the rim that it's hard to even count. But in the paint tonight, 18 of 47, so 29 misses for the Warriors in the paint. The Suns had 28 makes. The Warriors had 29 misses in the paint, and the Suns had 28 makes in the paint. That tells you the story. CA, we really need that second scorer. Enrique, and I think this is something that definitely should be pointed out. It's crazy. I'm sorry. Yeah, Enrique, hard to see Curry have another bad game, aging and deteriorating. And the lack of help doesn't help the aging and deteriorating. CA with a great point. Crazy how the Warriors could have had Levine last year for CP3 and just passed. In fairness, and look, that was a deal I would have done. And if you heard some of the Just Dub shows that we did and podcasts that I did with Greg Silver throughout the summer, and we did some sports phone shows during the summer, I would have done Levine for CP3's expiring deal. He was an injured player. He was viewed to be a guy that you didn't know could stay healthy, but the Warriors missed an opportunity there. There's no doubt. And it would have led to nobody healed, no Kyle Anderson, no DeAnthony Melton. But I think Levine on this team with Wiggins and with Kuminga and with Stephen Curry and with the young players, you wouldn't have given up a Moses Moody or a Brandon Pajemski or a Trace Jackson Davis or anybody else. Now turned into Schroeder. And so, yeah, I think, CA, when you look at it, this team would have been better off getting CP3 in the mix or out of the mix and getting Levine into the mix at that particular point in time. And now it's, you might have to give up Wiggins to get him. I'll say this. I would not give up Wiggins to get Zach LaVine. I know I say it every night. Is it LaVine and Torrey Craig and Vucevic? Then maybe that's a little bit of a different conversation, although we talked about it the other night as far as a lot of the Bulls guys. Torrey Craig aside, he hasn't been there very long. But, those guys have been in a lot of and been in part of and seen a lot of losing these last couple of years. So I'm not sure you want to take a third, half of the Bulls primary rotation back on your squad here and think that it's going to necessarily make you dramatically better. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line is open. Phone lines are open. We'll get to more coming back on the other side and more from the YouTube chat as well. And coming up next, we're going to hear what the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, had to say before the game. You're not going to want to miss it. He gave, I think, the most real answer yet as to where the Warriors are going into the trade deadline. It's John Dickinson. It's Dubs OT with JD here from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
They got Steph and a bunch of Jags, just guys, just a guy.
Dub Nation, this is the real and inside story on Warriors basketball. Dubs OT with John Dickinson continues. Streaming live at twitch.tv/thesportsleader.
Schroeder has it ripped away by Beal. Oh, Schroeder comes back with the block. Good recovery on defense. Moody off balance, fall to the ground. And a three-point chance for Moody.
Moses Moody, one of the bright spots tonight for the Warriors. They get blown out, though, tonight in the second half by the Suns. 130-105 is the final. We welcome you back here. Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR, the sports leader. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627 as the Warriors now 24-24 on the season. Cannot separate from 500 after the big win against the Thunder. Thunder, good matchup tonight with the Warriors shorthanded. Suns dominate Golden State in this one, 130-105. All right. We'll hear more from in our Sounds of Dubs OT segment about tonight's game. And you can weigh in on the phone lines if you want to talk about tonight's game as well. More YouTube chats coming up here in just a second. As we get back to Harmonic here. But I want to get to some of the pregame sound. And Steve Kerr addressed this. And Kyle, we'll play both of these. We'll go D&E back-to-back here. But Steve Kerr was asked in a couple of different ways about just his view on where things stand right now with the trade deadline inside a week from coming and going here on February the 6th. We're about to hit February 1st. So we're basically 5 days away as we get to Saturday here. And so Steve addressed first just some of the difficulties of the trade deadline as it relates to players who you're asking on a night in, night out basis to go out and perform at a high level, much like a lot of the guys who have been in a lot of the rumors did on Wednesday against Oklahoma City. Roll that.
I think we just have a lot of really professional guys on our team because I don't sense a tenseness in the locker room. I think everybody understands the business. And, it's the hardest part of this business when you grow attached to people and then, people move on, whether it's, trade, free agency, coaches getting fired. There's just, you build these relationships that are really intimate because you're going through the fire together every day, and then all of a sudden people are gone. It's bizarre. And then I think the hardest thing for the players is that we ask them to be loyal and to give everything they have for the group, for the team, because that's the job. But then they might get shipped out. It's a really hard thing to reconcile as a player, but players have to reconcile it if they want to be productive and useful in their NBA career. Some guys, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, some guys are above all that. But the vast majority of these guys, they have to figure out that, they are their own best asset. And the way to be the best asset for yourself is to be valuable to your team and to be professional and to recognize that there's a lot of stuff that can happen that's no fun. And that's part of the job. And it's difficult, but it's something that the pros, the vets on the team, they understand that and they deal with it.
All right, so that's Steve Kerr talking about the trade deadline and how it impacts, so many different players and it's tough, and the guys that aren't the superstars have to deal with it on a night in, night out basis. Always want people to stop by and say hi. So so Laura, come on over. Say hi. Just say hi. You're on. Hi, Laura. Just thank you. Hi, that's Kyle. He's back in the studios, and Raph, and it's just so yeah. Thank you for stopping by and saying hi. It's simple as that. Yes, big KNBR fan. Yes.
I'm a little late in the morning, so I go to work early in the morning. I kind of Murph.
Yeah. Yep, Murph and Marcus. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Patterns have changed. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you. We all do. Thank you so much.
I had to tell my husband turn 680 on the 104.5.
Yeah, right. It's clear. He's blown away. It's so clear.
He's so old, he can't understand.
What's your husband's name? Matt? Okay. That's yes. Oh wow, he's a Kings fan. Well, that ends this conversation, Laura. I'm kidding. No, we.
He's so old, he can't comprehend.
Well, it sounds a lot better. 104.5. That's where it's at, or on the YouTube stream. Laura, thank you for stopping by. Thank you. Yes, thank you for all the kind words. Love KNBR, and thank you, Raph. Thank you so much, Laura, and her wonderful husband Matt, who's not here but is an avid listener as well. Kyle, I thought that was worth breaking in. I'm sure we're going to get 3. Kyle, Raph. I'm sure we're going to get 5 people. Oh my God, that's so bad. JD's talking to people. Why is he doing that? Don't do that. We are a show of the people, for the people, by the people. So we thank Laura for coming by.
Well, the chat is jumping in, but it's not about that.
It's all positive. No.
Oh yeah.
It's all. Do I want to know?
They're
be nice, chat.
No, they're being nice. One person is asking, maybe the Warriors should start her.
Yeah, no doubt. Anyway, we digress here. But again, we have a rule. You stop by, you say hi. If you want, some people don't want their 15 seconds. Laura wanted 50 seconds. Like, forget 15. I want like a minute and a half. And so it's all right. We're going to need to we're almost going to have, can Laura make a layup? Estimated eyes. That's a great question. We should have asked her that. Laura appeared to be. I bet Laura could make a layup. I'll speak on it. So we're talking about the trade deadline and the difficulties of everything. We'll just segue right back into it. And the Warriors got a lot of contributions from a lot of guys Wednesday. Looney and GP and a lot of those guys. And Wiggins, and it kind of makes you, do you really want to trade these guys? Well, it's difficult because the Warriors need those contributions. And then guys, as Steve mentioned in the clip that we played, might just get shipped out. So here was the second clip, and I think this is the most telling clip from Steve Kerr pregame about where the Warriors are at. And we'll play this. It's about 50 seconds. And I think this was the most clear, concise admission of what the Warriors are trying to do at the deadline here now 5 days away. Here's Steve.
Oh, we do. I think we've shown that, but we've also shown that we don't have enough to separate ourselves from the rest of the West. And so I think the point is, we're not in a position where we could just say, no, we're good. Let's stand pat. That's the reality of where we are. So Mike's doing his due diligence, doing his job. If there's something that makes sense, he's going to do it. And if not, then I'm very comfortable going forward with this team because I know what we're capable of, and I believe in the guys, and we'll hopefully try to capture a little momentum here. We have an opportunity for that. I think tonight's a big game in that regard, coming off the other night, but we got to go do it.
All right, so not in a position to stand pat. The reality of where they are, this team has shown the inability to separate from the pack. I think that's as clear and decisive a comment, a quote, as has been said from anybody, certainly on the record, as to, hey, you'll coach the team you have if it's the team you have, and you'll like that team and try to get the most out of them. But to me, and I think one thing that's been interesting, the Steve Kerrs and the Steph Currys have not – I think they know. When you've got championship caliber players and coaches, I think they know when they need an infusion, as difficult as it would be to lose players that are a big part of your culture or chemistry or veteran leadership and things like that. But I also think, this team has stood pat in the offseason, stood pat for the most part last year, has really kind of stood pat for 2.5 years since winning the NBA championship. And so I think they know that they need an infusion, and they have some expiring contracts. And I'll tell you another thing. It feels like the league itself at this point is moving in a direction toward there's going to be a lot of moves. Sometimes the trade deadline comes and goes and it's a little quiet. You hear a bunch of rumors. It ends up being quiet. It seems like this trade deadline is going to be active. It seems like there's going to be a lot going on at the deadline, whether it's the Suns, who, by the way, the team the Warriors played tonight would do anything to get Jimmy Butler on that squad. You telling me that, like, if you go Booker, Durant, Jimmy Butler, that's going to be a good team. I'm sorry. And they have to facilitate it by offloading one of their lesser productive players in Bradley Beal by comparison. But, and again, Beal played a really nice game against the Warriors tonight off the bench. But I don't know. I think you look at it, and I think it's going to be an active deadline. I think that's as much of an admission as we've heard from anybody in the Warriors organization, that they are at least legitimately trying to look to make things happen. I think the Warriors have their hand in everything right now. That's my sense here in the lead up to the trade deadline, as we start to try and really hone in on what's going to go down. And again, I think there's going to be a lot of things that are going to go down. I think De'Aaron Fox is going to get moved. It's starting to really look like that. I think Jimmy Butler's going to get moved. I think LaVine's going to get moved. Are the Warriors going to be in that mix? I think other players are going to get moved. I think Cam Johnson's going to get moved. I think Kyle Kuzma's going to get moved. No, I'm not going to go on a Kyle Kuzma rant again here on for the second night in a row as Kyle feverishly searches for what I said the other night about Kyle Kuzma. All right. Yeah, we don't need to. We'll hear it later. We'll hear it tomorrow on Just Dubs. All right. Diggum 117. We hope someone can come in and be a scorer. Players come here and forget how to play. Man, has that been the case for Dennis Schroeder? It's something with the system. And again, Schroeder's played, I think, a little bit better lately, but he just has not been the guy that we've seen him be other places. Kelly Oubre, when he came to the Warriors, not the guy that we've seen, be productive in other places. The list is lengthy. A lot of guys that look like good quality players come to the Warriors, and it's just not a fit. For whatever reason, I think a lot of it is the system. Joe H., defense was pretty bad. Yeah, the defense was really bad tonight. Rebel to Sounds, poor shooting, lack of effort on defense, looked like a team expecting a trade. Tonight did look like the opposite of Wednesday. Wednesday is the one extreme where everybody who's in the rumors gets a little bit of a boost and goes out there and kind of plays a bleep the world kind of a game, right? Like one last hurrah for Wiggins, one last hurrah for Looney, one last hurrah for GP2, one last hurrah for anybody else that might be going in a deal. And tonight I just think they were, I hate to say it because the Suns are not much better than the Warriors in the standings, but the Warriors looked outclassed talent-wise. And it wasn't just Booker and Durant. Without Draymond and Kuminga, it wasn't just like Tyus Jones is better than the third best player in the Warriors. I mean, would Tyus Jones be the third best player in the Warriors? He might be. We know about Booker and Durant. Would Bradley Beal be the second or third best player in the Warriors? He probably would be, as bad as he's been. Would Grayson Allen be the fourth or fifth best player on the Warriors right now? I'm not going to say second or third, but would he be the fourth or fifth best player on the Warriors? I mean, I don't know. They have more. Royce O'Neal would be a rotation player on the Warriors. Mason Plumlee would be an upgrade rotation player on the Warriors. Bradley Beal would be in the Warriors rotation. Grayson Allen would be like, so even if you want to, like all of these guys, Ryan Dunn didn't play a lot tonight, but has been exceptional for them this year. Like Nick Richards. I think Nick Richards would be in the Warriors rotation. Nick Richards is what everybody would dream Trace Jackson Davis would be. Like that would be a dream if Trace Jackson Davis could nightly do what Nick Richards did in the game tonight and was doing for Charlotte before the Suns acquired him. So, again, the Suns have guys not playing. Damian Lee, Monte Morris, Yusuf Nurkic. These are guys out of their rotation that got DNP coaches' decisions that I think would be in the Warriors rotation right now. So, and this is a team, admittedly, that has been such a failure to this point, even though they have a couple game better record than the Warriors, that they're looking to go get Jimmy Butler, and they're like, yeah, we'll pay him. Bring him on. So I think there is, tonight's one of those nights where you start looking at other teams in the talent level and where things sit. And, some nights it's going to be good matchups. Some nights it's going to be bad matchups. Tonight was a bad matchup, I thought, for the Warriors with the way everybody was playing. Regulator, I didn't expect them to win, but I was hoping they could make it close. Estimated eyes, every time KD hit a shot, I could see that live on-court spat between KD and Dre. Yeah, KD and Dre were going at it tonight at different points. Not like KD and GP1, GP Senior. It was, those two were going at it. Let me tell you, GP hasn't changed in 30 years, man. Like Gary Payton is still just run. I don't know that I've ever seen Gary Payton not running his mouth ever. Like he is just always talking. You gotta love it. You gotta respect it. A legend of the game, for sure. GP, and yeah, GP, the little old Seattle Supersonic thing going. KD played his first year with the Sonics, and obviously Gary Payton was a all-time great Seattle Supersonic, and just chit-chatting back and forth between the two. Rebel, I didn't expect the Warriors to win this game. Let's ride. Get Pods some help. That's funny. Joe H., post got blocked by the rim there at the end. Rich Ray wants to add Bol Bol to the list. Another night where the opposing team empties the bench in the fourth. Give us Bol Bol. Could Bol Bol be in the Warriors rotation? I don't know if we're going to go that far. Buco Sports, Warriors played good for about the first 8 minutes. Yeah, that was about it. Let's see. Regulator, thanks, GP. Joe Schmo, KD, and Assassin. This wasn't even a great KD night. It was a vintage KD stretch, but this was like a light work KD night. 19, 6 of 13, 5 of 9, 3. He was 2 for 7, and then he went boom, boom, boom on GP down the stretch. Is this team done? Amid says. Or asks the question. No, they're not done. I don't think they're done, but they have to be able to look to add at the deadline. Good to see Otis Bird III and GSW Vera, San Jose Jazz fan 4. As always, Tommy, this is who the Dubs are. That's why I don't get excited about a 2-game winning streak. Yeah, I don't think anybody was overly excited. To me, it's more about you get a game or two over 500, and then it means maybe you're more apt to look to make a move. Because I think the Warriors have looked at this thing backwards at different points here. The better they play, the more they're apt to make a move, it feels like, where I almost think regardless they need to be in the business of of making a move. Let's ride. Still 34 games left. Plenty of time. Yeah, 34 games left, but only 2 before the trade deadline. Monday against Orlando and Wednesday in Salt Lake City. And then the trade deadline comes after that. Let's ride. Steph, Pods, and a bunch of Jags. Just the guys, to quote Charles Barkley. Robert, the Thunder was the game that was the outlier and not the mean. Well, no doubt. I mean, they've proven that for the last 2.5 months. I mean, we are 2.5 months away now from, them beating Dallas early when Dallas had everybody going, and Boston on the road, and Oklahoma City at the end of a trip. I mean, the Oklahoma City game was an outlier for a 2.5 month stretch. I agree with Diggum 117. Warriors need to make a trade now just to bring passion back to the team. You gotta stoke the fire in terms of continuing to have guys fight. I do think that's important. I think that's really, baby brother, enough of Quentin Post, please. Yeah, this was Quentin Post's worst game since he's been getting an opportunity to play. Still knocked down a couple of threes, though. Still got a couple of those top of the key threes where it's like, okay, I see you. Tonight, I don't think tonight was gutless. Just a lot of missed layups and bad defense. Tonight, I don't think was necessarily lack of effort. It was just bad defense against a talented team. Steph was frustrated tonight. And there have been a lot of nights where he's appeared frustrated in an attempt to try and figure, is it worth getting going? Trying to exude the energy. Is it going to be worth it to use up the energy that it's going to take to get himself on a big run? Excuse me. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Let's go ahead and take another quick timeout. We'll continue here with our Sounds of Dubs OT. More from the chat. Phone lines are open as well. What are the Warriors going to do at the deadline? Most firm and decisive comments yet from anybody among the Warriors' brain trust and Steve Kerr. We'll talk about it all. Continuing next right here. Dubs OT with JD on the Sports Leader.
I love KNBR.
KNBR presents the sounds of Dubs OT.
I can see the headline now. Kerr says Warriors better without Curry.
No class, no ball.
I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, off the court.
Now here's John Dickinson.
All right, welcome back. Sounds of Dubs OT here from Harmonic Brewing. It's John Dickinson with you. We'll keep this thing going until about 11 o'clock. Good crowd on hand here tonight on Dubs OT as the Warriors lose 130-105 to the Phoenix Suns, get really dominated from the second quarter on. Warriors trailed by 3 at the end of the first. Suns put it away in the third and fourth quarters, but the second quarter is kind of where the game started to flip. We'll hear from Steve Kerr. We'll hear a little bit from Brandon Pajemski as well, and then more from the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line as well as the YouTube chat. But let's get to it. Let's go ahead and hear our first cut from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, and he discussed just that, the second quarter, and something that's happened far too often this year for the Warriors. They have a bad stretch, and then everything just kind of flops in terms of the energy and the effort and the attitude.
Yeah, I mean, it was there early. It's I thought we actually played a decent first quarter. Our defense wasn't great, but we moved the ball and we had some really good possessions, and we were right there. And then the second quarter, the game kind of got away from us a little bit, and I thought our shoulders sagged a little bit, and this league, the way people play now with the 3-point line, with the pace, games can get away from you in a hurry, and so that's. That's what happened tonight, I thought, and that may have caused us to lose a little confidence.
Yeah, we've heard that too much. The lost confidence and a bad stretch. They don't hit a few shots, and then they don't defend, and then they miss a few more shots, and then a team gets hot and they're cold, and all of a sudden it turns into this big run, and the game is basically to the point where it's going to be an uphill climb. I get it. That's part of what middling teams do. That's part of what mediocre teams do. But I think as you look at this team, that's happened far too much this year. You got to be able to have a little resolve when things aren't going well. But when you only have one true go-to player to try and get a bucket for you, those stretches tend to be a little bit more prolonged and a little bit more deflating and defeating, I think, is probably the most appropriate way to say it. And so you look at what happened there in terms of the second quarter, and I think, again, all too familiar a theme here. Some good news on the injury front from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, post-game. What's the latest on Draymond Green, as he had been day-to-day, ramping up his activity, sitting on the bench, kind of jawing with KD at different points tonight? Here's what Steve Kerr had to say about what's coming up for Draymond.
He scrimmaged today, and he will practice with us tomorrow, and we're expecting him to play next week sometime. Not sure which game, but we'll see how he comes out. But he scrimmaged and did fine, so he's on the right track.
So that's good news. Yeah, in the next week for Draymond, could it be Monday? Could it be Wednesday? It sounds like Draymond's going to be back for the road trip at a minimum. Maybe they play him in LA, second of the back-to-back, to make sure that he's stays healthy. So that's good. I mean, that's Kuminga likely after the All-Star break, Draymond back. And I think, Draymond's missed on both ends. I think at times we forget how much Draymond has missed on the offensive end because he's not a scorer, basically. He's someone that defensively, is the anchor of everything. But offensively, tonight was a night where, Steph wasn't aggressive, but tonight was a night, we've seen a lot of these nights, where Steph's teammates were not in sync with him. The Suns are really trying to take Steph out of it, and there are things that need to be done depending upon the defense. There's a little box and one by the Suns at different points tonight. But the teammates have to be able to be in lockstep with Steph to get him a shot here, a shot there in the flow of everything that might get him ignited in game. And tonight I thought specifically was a bad night of that. One guy who always does it is Draymond Green. And so Draymond, let's hear what Steve had to say about him and just being missed on that end of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, Draymond is obviously a great player, and the connection that he has with Steph, he knows how to get Steph the ball and get him shots, get him free. I thought that was part of the problem in the first half. I think Steph had 5 shots at halftime, and we weren't finding ways to get him the ball. I've got to do a better job of that. But Draymond will help when he comes back for sure.
Yeah, offensively as much as he will defensively. He just knows how to get Steph the relocation threes, the second chance threes. The quick Draymond gets it, flip it back to Steph, set a little screen, dribble handoff, those kinds of things. So Draymond's absence has been felt here of late, but good news on that front. And again, he can help offensively and defensively, no question. All right, let's hear a little from Brandon Pajemski as he discusses something we talked about it at the top of the show. 12-3, 3-12, 15-15, 16-16, 18-18, 19-19, 20-20, 21-21, 22-22, 23-23, 24-24. They only skipped 17. They went from 16-16 to 18-16. They skipped 17 and 17. They were 18-16. But it's been 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and now 24, where this team has gone win one, lose one, lose one, win one. And you end up right at 500. Brandon Pajemski here post-game lamenting the Warriors' inability to put wins together and separate.
Just the ability of the inability to string together wins. I think, for a bunch of this month, you've seen a win and a loss, a win and a loss. And so I think we just got to, in the month of February, just find a way to string together wins. I think we have only 3 home games. So I think, we love being on the road as a team and as a squad. And so if we can string together, 4 or 5 wins in a row, I think it'd help us.
And it definitely would. I don't think this team can do that as they're currently constituted. We've talked about it. This team, and look, tonight and Wednesday prove it. The Utah game combined with the Lakers game proves it. The Chicago game combined with the Sacramento game proves it. I mean, all these different instances where the Warriors wind up. This team, and I think even with Draymond and Kuminga back, they're not going to separate. They're not going to win 4 or 5 in a row. They're not going to end up 8 out of 10 or 12 out of 15 again to be able to be, the Warriors are all of a sudden 6th. Like, I just don't think we're going to see that. You got to go make a move. To answer the Pajemski question as it relates to that, to me, you have to go make a move if you want to look to have the ability to string some wins together. I think that's what it's all about. Because you look at Orlando's no picnic. They've been struggling. They've been banged up. If you beat Orlando, maybe you can get to 2 over because you can beat Utah. But let's be honest. I mean, the way this thing has gone for the Warriors, they'll probably lose to Orlando, beat Utah, lose to the Lakers, beat Chicago, lose to Milwaukee, beat Houston. Actually, they play Dallas first. And then, they play Dallas and Houston to end the pre-All-Star break portion of the schedule. So, maybe they can pick off one of those other ones at some point here between now and the All-Star break. But this team's not good enough. You got to add talent. You got to add a player. You got to add a couple of players. I think they know that. Going back to the clip that we'll replay now to wrap up our Sounds of Dubs OT, I think Steve Kerr here acknowledges, and this is from pregame, he acknowledges the fact, the reality of where the Warriors are. And while he has a team that he likes and would surely coach to the end of the season and thinks can be better than they've been, That's where I disagree with you, Steve. He addressed the inability to just stand pat and not do anything.
I think we just have a lot of really professional guys on our team because I don't sense a tenseness in the locker room. I think everybody understands the business, and it's the hardest part of this business when you grow attached to people.
Yeah, all right. So that was the Steve Kerr that we played a little bit earlier about the guys in the locker room and the hard part of the business and a lot of the guys in the rumors being the guys that have to show up and show out, and they did to a greater extent on Wednesday compared to tonight. Let's hear from Kerr though on the trade deadline specifically and where this Warriors team is at as they look to make a move.
Oh, we do. I think we've shown that, but we've also shown that we don't have enough to separate ourselves from the rest of the West. And so I think the point is, we're not in a position where we could just say, no, we're good. Let's stand pat. That's the reality of where we are. So Mike's doing his due diligence, doing his job. If there's something that makes sense, he's going to do it. And if not, then I'm very comfortable going forward with this team because I know what we're capable of, and I believe in the guys, and we'll hopefully try to capture a little momentum here. We have an opportunity for that. I think tonight's a big game in that regard, coming off the other night, but we got to go do it.
Yeah, and tonight's a big game in that regard, and tonight the Warriors got beat by 25 in that regard as it related to trying to see if you can build a little bit of momentum with what you've got. I put it out there, and we've talked about it a lot tonight on the show, the 12-3, 3-12, and then, 16-16, 18-18, all of that. Basically been 500 since 18-18 at every two-game interval. And I think that the most frustrating part of it is not the fact that it's been this year that the Warriors did that, but they did it last year. They did it last year, and they did it 2 years ago. And this team last year, right around this time, did start to play better when they went on the road right before the All-Star break, ironically enough, and right before the trade deadline, went on the road and got it together, ended up 27-12 in the final 39 games. You look at this thing now, there's what, 38 games to go right now, 24, 48, 32 games, 34 games to go, 34 games to go. So they got on a little bit of a run right around this time. And so we'll see. But I think the most frustrating aspect of it for Warrior fans is that it's not the last 2 months or this season or this season and last season. It's this season and last season and the season before that. And that this team has been in this position. And so I think there is a significant portion of the fan base that just wants to see something new. Just wants to see something new. That just wants to see it in a little fresh blood. Mix it up a little bit. Try to find that second scorer if you can. And so I think that's as much of an acknowledgement as you'll get from a head coach or a general manager in the lead up to the deadline that something's got to change without coming out directly and saying, hey, we're going to make a bunch of moves. Hey, at a minimum, we're going to do this, this, and this, but first we want to see if we can do this, this, and this. Whether it's Vucevic, whether it's Jimmy Butler, whether it's Cam Johnson, whether it's Bruce Brown, who I think could really help this team, or a lot of other guys we haven't really talked about. Maybe they end up in the mix of a San Antonio-Sacramento trade. Maybe they end up being the third, fourth, fifth. I mean, we already saw them pull off a 6-team trade in the summer. Maybe the Warriors will glom on to and add a couple of pieces that can help their depth by supersizing one of these deals. But I think everybody at this point knows the task at hand and what needs to be done. All right, more from the YouTube chat, and we'll take a quick timeout. We'll get some fun with numbers. We'll call it a night here on this Friday. And again, a reminder, just Dubs tomorrow, 10 a.m. until noon, full trade deadline special, 10 a.m. until noon right here on KNBR. We're going to get into a lot of the rumors, a lot of the names you've heard. We're going to get into some of the names you haven't heard tomorrow as well. And also just what's going on throughout the league as far as guys who may get moved. I said it at the top of this program. I think this is going to be a significant deadline in terms of movement. I think there's going to be a lot of guys going. I think there's going to be a blockbuster or two. It's going to be jaw-dropping, I think, come Thursday in the afternoon. Now, that doesn't mean the Warriors are going to be necessarily making a jaw-dropper type of a move, but I don't think they're going to allow for those expiring contracts to expire. And I do think they're going to try to improve this roster to try and get on some semblance of a run, to try and at a minimum be a playoff team, and then set themselves up to be better than that next season by further evaluating what exactly it is they need to make that improvement. Chris Davis in the YouTube chat, why did Gary Payton II not get back in the game? He didn't play well tonight. GP2 in this one, I mean, he had 3 points. He was 1 of 6. He couldn't make a shot on the interior tonight. He took the 1-3. There was a sequence in the first half where the ball got kicked at Payton. Payton didn't want to shoot it. Kicked it to Steph. Steph could have faked and stepped up and took a shot. He didn't. He kicked it back to Payton. It was wide open. Payton took the 3. Miss. I mean, there are nights like Wednesday when Payton's an offensive threat. And then there are nights like tonight where Payton just doesn't look like an offensive threat at all. Let's look at the GP shot chart. I don't think it's pretty. Yeah. Payton, 1, 2, 3, basically 4 missed layups for GP in this one. You're saying who missed the layups? Yeah, it was 4 missed layups on a night where the Warriors, I mean, they missed a ton in the paint. We talked about the 18 of 47. But you want to look at really who struggled mightily in the paint tonight for the Warriors. Steph had 1 missed layup tonight. Andrew Wiggins, man, Andrew Wiggins was 5 for 14 in the paint. 5 for 14. Wiggins missed 2, 4. Wiggins missed 4 layups tonight. And again, not wide open ones, but inability to finish, contested, defense is there. Wiggins missed 4 layups. GP missed basically 2 layups and 2 other shots in the paint. Rough night on that front. Moses Moody missed 1 going up in the paint. Guy Santos missed 1 in the paint. Trace Jackson Davis missed a couple in the paint. Pajemski missed a little floater in the paint. Quentin Post tonight, 1 for 5 in the paint. Got 1 blocked, got blocked by the rim, and then 2 other ones where he missed in the paint. So, yeah, ugly stuff. But as to why GP2 didn't get back in, that's exactly why. Shyam, today is one of the reasons why Draymond's important to the team. It shows Warriors need dogs, not puppies. They need dogs. They need dogs, D-A-W-G, not dogs, D-O-G, like Kyle Kuzma. Woof, woof. Yeah, tonight was a woof performance. Tonight was a woof. Kyle Haar looks over and starts to, like, where was that? I'm going to isolate that. Woof, woof. Kyle Kuzma. Woof. There you go. You can just isolate the woof off of that one. Warriors in the final 3 quarters tonight. Woof. Not good. Yeah. KD was going at it with GP2's pops tonight. The legend, Gary Payton. LM, if they trade for Levine or Vucevic, they will flip him for other players next season. That's possible. That's part of the reason to do it. Again, I'm going to say this nightly until the deadline is over. I would not look to trade Wiggins for Levine, thinking that unless you're also going to get Vucevic, Wiggins for Levine, and now Levine's your 2 and Curry's your 1, and you don't have any threes. You better get Torrey Craig in that deal. I'll say that. You better get Torrey Craig in that deal if you're going to make that move. You better get Torrey Craig if you're going to move Wiggins in a Levine deal. And you probably should get Vucevic too, because then that would allow Kuminga to play a little bit of 3. So let's not be short-sighted in this thing if you're the Warriors as it relates to that. You don't want that. Couple of text messages, 925. Season ticket holder, I need to see improvement and hope to renew. I don't think you're alone, 925 out in the East Bay. I don't think you're alone, and I think Joe Lacob, and they know it. I think the Warriors brass knows that they can't just continue to peter into this mid win one, lose one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, lose one, win one, win one, win one, lose one, lose one. It's Trek. It's awful. It's brutal. JD from the 408. What do you feel is more likely that happens at the deadline? Is there a trade in the next few days or minutes before the deadline? Thank you for chiming in here. I think for some reason I feel like Wednesday's the day. I don't think it's going to be deadline day per se. I kind of feel like it's going to be Wednesday. Tuesday or Wednesday. Warriors are going to be in Utah Wednesday. And it's like, all right, pack them up. Pack them up, zip them up. I don't know. It feels like Wednesday. But again, the Warriors are playing Wednesday, so you got to have enough players to be able to physically go out and beat Utah in Salt Lake City. You didn't want to trick that game away because you traded half your freaking roster for Zach LaVine. That would be less than ideal. All right. 808 KNBR, the number. Appreciate the texts. Couple more here in the chat as I maneuver a bunch of Jags. GSW Vera, wonder how he'll be received at All-Star Weekend. Is that was that KD? Oh, I think KD will be very highly respected, appreciated at All-Star Weekend. Yeah. Absolutely. Wait, did Durant make it? I'm trying to think. Did Durant make it, Kyle? I'm thinking I said that and then I thought, wait a minute, did Durant make it? And now I'm like trying to scurry to actually look.
No,
I thought he made it.
Make quiet.
Make the All-Star team.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think he did.
No, he's a starter. He's
a starter. Okay, he's a starter. Okay, all right. I was flipping out because they announced the reserves yesterday. I'm like, no, Durant's an All-Star, and then I was flipping out, Kyle, because I'm looking at the reserves and I'm like, he wasn't on the because they did the. But in my mind, I'm like, no, Durant was definitely an All-Star. Now, he's going to get a massive ovation at All-Star Weekend, which is now just a couple of weeks away. All right, let's take another timeout. We'll come back. Final thoughts from the YouTube chat, and also our Fun with Numbers segment coming up. Warriors lose tonight. It was ugly for the final three quarters, 130 to 105. It's KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader. They need dogs, DAWG, not dogs, DOG, like Kyle Kuzma. Woof, woof.
This is Dubs OT with JD. Time now for fun.
I'm a fun guy.
With numbers.
No, I'm just having fun.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live on KNBR.com and the KNBR app.
All right, welcome back. Final segment. John Dickinson, it's Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR. 808 KNBR is the number, 415-808-5627. Final segment, fun with numbers. We got Billy Joe from Alamo. He's in the house. He's looking forward to the Pro Bowl. He might be the only one. Billy Joe's looking forward to the Pro Bowl this weekend compared to what we all witnessed tonight. We got Gordo in the house here, Kyle. We got Gordo, and Gordo brought friends, as he always does. We got Gordo with Owen and Chad and Cheryl here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. So cheers to everyone. And then Laura earlier, Kyle, who stopped by and said hi, stole the show. Laura, yes, she does. That might have to go. That's going to have to go in the. Might have to go in a montage. I love KNBR. Her husband does as well. Although she was throwing some shade at her husband. She's like, my husband's so old. Da 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 da. She was throwing some shade at her husband because her husband likes to listen on the AM side and not the FM side. I don't know. It was just funny. I don't know. Hey, for Billy Joe. Cheers. Cheers, Gordo, Cheryl. Thank you so much. That's it. That's a big on name. Cheryl, come on over. Say hi, just real quick. Yeah, we like to say hi. Yep. That's Kyle. Yeah, Kyle in our studios, and yeah, Gordo's here, and yeah, we just. Yes, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. We again, this we are for the people. We are for the people. Owen and Chad, a little more shy, Kyle. Are Owen and Chad. They don't want their Cheryl wanted her 15 seconds. Owen and Chad are like, no, we're good. We're going to drink our beer.
It's okay.
It's like Billy Joe.
Laura took Owen and Chad's.
Everyone's they took their time. They took their time. All right, more from the chat here. This was a big topic today. Robert brings it up. I want to get your thoughts on this, Kyle. And I don't know if we have the audio from this or not. I didn't ask you to pull it. The Kendrick Perkins. Do we happen to have the Kendrick Perkins? I'm sure Kyle's like, oh yeah, we got the Kendrick Perkins. Robert says Curry shouldn't probably even be an all-star at all this season. No. FOH, Kendrick Perkins. Here's what Perk had to say on whatever they call that midday show on ESPN that's kind of trash.
I look at a guy like Steph Curry making an all-star game this season, and I look at a lot of guys like Kyrie Irving, Devin Booker, De'Aaron Fox, just in this conference who had better seasons than or playing better than him. Look, I'm gonna say the quiet thing out loud. Steph Curry should not be an all-star. He shouldn't. Guys are playing. You still look. No matter what the fans want, no matter what the coaches want, no matter what we want, who we want to see, this still you have to earn to be an all-star by your production. And if you're looking at the production around the league, it's guys in the Western Conference that have better numbers than Steph, and their teams are in better positions than Steph. So, I mean, what? Am I lying?
Yeah, I don't know if you're lying, but, did he say De'Aaron Fox? Did he mention De'Aaron Fox in there?
I don't think so. He said he definitely mentioned Kyrie and Devin Booker.
I think he mentioned De'Aaron Fox, actually. And there's no way. Like, the game's at freaking Chase Center. Come on. Like one, Steph Curry deserves to be an all-star, but he definitely deserves to be an all-star at Chase Center in 2025. And a starter at that. Is it the best season of his career? No. Are there other players deserving? Yes. I mean, there are players deserving. Are they more deserving than Steph in the house that he helped build, in a league that he's helped elevate? No. The answer is no. Kyrie can take the Cabo or Cancun weekend and come back no worse for the wear. And maybe he'll get it next year and Steph doesn't. We'll see. But come on, man. And De'Aaron Fox got a good scam going. Do people really think, like, I really think nationally, like, people think De'Aaron Fox is like a top 30 player. Like, he isn't even the best player on his own freaking team, for crying out loud. But hey, more power to him. Like, he's clutch, man. You get in with clutch, and all of a sudden, people start thinking you're a little bit better than you are, maybe. But no, Steph definitely deserves to be an all-star. I don't think there's much doubt about it. Some final thoughts here from the YouTube chat. Robert, I thought they'd lose, but only by 10 or so. Suns have been playing a little bit better of late. Estimated eyes, Dubs OT, not so fun lately. We were trying to have a good time. It was fun on Wednesday, estimated. We had some fun. Andis, appreciate you jumping in around 10 o'clock. Otis Bird III. Yeah, tough news. DeJounte Murray. You saw the Achilles injury. He's talking about Jamal Murray, but DeJounte Murray Achilles tonight. And so he's going to be done. DeJounte Murray with the Pelicans going to be done for the year. So, yeah, tough news there, man. Everything the Pelicans touch just turns bad. That is absolutely brutal news throughout the course of the NBA. Mono 1005 holds. Put Laura in the game. Dubs need a decoy. Matt getting a night off. That's funny. Matt getting a night off from Laura. That's funny. Laura better make the outro sound. Kyle's. We do take
her
requests.
And Kyle Kuzma are in the outro.
We do take requests here tonight. Yeah, tough night. Laura versus Lindy. I got Laura. That from Rich Ray. Lindy, I do think is a solid back into the roster. Andis Brown mentioned something I mentioned. We're going to talk more about this tomorrow, Andis, on Just Dubs. I know that's a little lighter crowd. Everybody's got their coffee. It's going to be a dreary kind of morning. You're getting some breakfast tomorrow. We're going to talk about some of the different names that could be potential targets for the Warriors, some names that you haven't heard of. I didn't want to really burn them all tonight on Dubs OT, knowing we had the quick turnaround and then an open weekend here with no games until Monday. So stay tuned for that, Andis. But, yeah, the rumor and reports, and I've heard a lot of this independently, there are some names that have not necessarily been mentioned that could be in play for the Warriors. So stay tuned tomorrow. We'll get into that between 10 and noon here on The Sports Leader. Let's ride. The crowd was dead tonight. Yeah, the crowd has not been great. It was pretty good once the game became competitive on Wednesday night. The crowds have not been great lately. They really haven't, and it's been unfortunate. Our buddy Billy Joe from Alamo was talking about the crowds earlier, and just how it wasn't. You know, it really is. It's not what it used to be, obviously, but it's Wednesday was by far the outlier there. LM, I would not be surprised if GP2 and Looney get moved and bought out. Yeah, both of those guys could help other teams if they end up, say, in a Chicago or somewhere else. Both those teams could help playoff teams, I think for sure. If the Chase fans boo, we would get a trade. If not for this chat, I would stop watching. That from Rich Ray. Yeah, the Warrior fans have stopped short of booing, which is kind of tonight I don't know was a boo night, but there were a couple here early January, the Miami game, the Sacramento game, where they were pretty close. There were some murmurs and hints of some potential boos. Andis Brown, Suns moved the ball well, got some good looks. Warriors defense got caught scrambling. Yeah, they got caught scrambling a lot. That is good call. Warriors were making a little run when Schroeder fouled on the 3-pointer, the Tyus Jones three-pointer where he hit the three and got the and one on it. Yeah, that was really the only little sign of life in the second half and really in the fourth quarter after the Warriors had gotten down big and tried to make a little bit of run. Shyam signed GP Sr. to a 2-year contract. I love Gary Payton Sr., by the way. How about this? I was going to read this. This is a quote. I don't know that we have the audio of it. I'm not going to read all of it, but I was looking at this. Kevin Durant postgame on Gary Payton and the exchanges that they had throughout the game. KD said postgame, yeah, it's always good when I run into an older player, especially who played in the 90s, because I feel like that's the golden years of the NBA. So I try to let them know, especially GP. I try to let them know what it would have been like if you had been on the court with me, because they tend to talk down on the mentality of our era players. So every time, GP, a great sport about it, one of my favorite players, somebody I look up to, got major respect for. I think this started in the summer at Team USA. We were all in the same room, Team USA, and the first thing I said to him was, he couldn't guard me. He's too small. Them dudes playing back in the day weren't close to me. I was just talking crazy to him. So I guess we just picked it up from there. I love that I can have that support with the older generation, the older players, and let them know that I'm a little like them. I'm like little bro, you know. I always looked up to them my whole life. So, yeah, I'm going to talk a little ish. Can't say that part on the radio. So it was fun. Got major respect for GP. How do you not like Kevin Durant? Like, really, how do you – I get it. I don't know. Kevin Durant, I think Kevin Durant's a real one. I know some of the narratives about the endings of some of the places that he's been throughout the course of his career. I like KD, and KD was great for the Warriors. Respect the way he views the game. Maybe not the game away from the game in terms of the movement and all of that stuff as much, but he came and he helped the Warriors win 2 chips and damn near 3. And I don't know. KD's a real one. I've always thought that, especially when it's about ball and not about the other stuff. So we'll end it on that note and get a little bit of fun with numbers here. We played the thing, right? Coming back before the break. We played it. Yeah, we played it, Kyle. I know. We played it. I'm getting my fun with numbers script up here. Warriors, one more to go on the homestand. Now 3-2. 3-3 would feel, I think, like a disappointment, especially if you can't beat Orlando on Monday. You'd end up under 500 going on the road. So I think Monday's a big game. You get the weekend off. Draymond Green's going to be practicing this weekend for the Warriors, and they'll have a shot to go up against a talented Orlando Magic team on Monday at Chase Center to try and get off the schneid and open up February as the Warriors 14-13 at home. Again, they got to be better at home. They've just been mid-home and away. 2-1 season series lead for Phoenix over the Warriors, as the Warriors will play one more time against the Suns in Phoenix on April the 8th. So the Suns get the nod up by winning at Chase Center. Home team winning the other 2 games there. Warriors are 1-9 against the Pacific Division. How do you figure that? So the Warriors are 1-2 against the Suns. They're 0-2 against the Kings. They're 0-3 against the Clippers. And they're 0-2 against the Lakers with 2 road games, including one next week against the Lakers. So, yeah, only the one win against the Suns back in December. That's the only divisional win. Division, not as big a deal as it is, say, in the NFL, maybe, or in Major League Baseball, but 1-9, and also the only comeback win that the Warriors had when trailing after 3 quarters was that game against the Suns as well, late in December. 5 of the last 7 for the Warriors. Opponents have shot 50% or better. Warriors are 4-10 when opponents shoot 50% or better. Defense wasn't there tonight, and then kind of a ho-hum night for the Warriors in terms of the individual performances. Wiggins was 17. Moody was 17 off the bench. Moody's played better here the last 2 weeks or so. Really the last week and a half to 2 weeks. I think it goes back to the the Sacramento game, so a week and a half. But he's played better of late. Quentin Post got his second career start. I think it might be time to dial back the Quentin Post starts against certain teams and matchups. But again, he did knock down a couple of threes. And Pajemski's played well of late. Double figures in each of the last 5 games after missing 12 games before that due to the abdominal injury, and a season-high tying 4 steals for Dennis Schroeder. But Schroeder really not making the impact that I think you want him to make consistently for this Warriors team in terms of the offense overall. And our big-time Dubs OT, not so fun with numbers, 15-15, 16-16, 18-18, 19-19, 20-20, 20-21, 22-22, 23-23, 24-24. What is the definition of mid? 20 from 18 on. They've been now in increments of 500 at every turn here. And we'll see how things shake out as the Warriors play on Monday against Orlando and then Wednesday against the Jazz before the Lakers and the trade deadline. And so, yeah, we'll call it a night on that note. Big thanks to Kyle Haar. We had Ryan McCarthy I saw skulking around there in the background. And anybody else to thank tonight, Kyle?
And Raph.
And Raph. And Raph, of course. Back tomorrow, and Gordo and Gordo's crew. Gordo brought a crew, which included Billy Joe from Alamo was in Gordo's crew tonight. So yeah, Billy Joe from Alamo and Gordo's crew. But yeah, Gordo's crew, we appreciate them. Cheryl and Owen and Chad, appreciate everybody. Laura, wonderful contributor. Everybody in the chat, and a big thank you to Shay and Julia, and an extra special thank you to Julia tonight, Kyle. One of the greats here at Harmonic Brewing. Julia is leaving after tonight to go on maternity leave. So Julia is going to have a baby boy coming up here in February. And so congratulations to Julia. Early congratulations to Julia and her guy on their guy that's coming here at some point in February. So yeah, big thank you to Julia. I'm trying to get, if I can see her, I might get her on camera real quick to just say thank you for everything. But she's busy skulking around and trying to clean up. But yeah, standing ovation for Julia at Harmonic, who is gonna become a mom here in the next couple of weeks. So we really shout out goes to her. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Just Dubs, 10 a.m. until noon. Keep it locked right here. Our trade deadline special. Warriors lose to the Suns 130-105. It's KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Beal, timer at 1. Durant lets it fly. It's good. Durant's hit 2 threes in a row. And there he is again. KD has hit 3 in a row, heating up at the end of the third.
It doesn't take long. These guys like Durant and Curry, they can do it in spurts all of a sudden. Not quick points for him.
John Dickinson.
No, God! No, God, please, no, no!
Big audio quality show.
You are a sicko, and I appreciate you for it because I'm a sicko.
I just know they kicked our ass tonight.
No class, no balls.
Kyle Kuzma. Woof.